Hi guys, I'm the Ember, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a basic Pong game in Python. So let's start. So before we do anything, we're going to need to open the command prompt. So we just type in command prompt and then press enter. If you're on Mac, this is going to be the terminal. And then we're going to type pip install Pygame. So Pygame is the module we're going to be using to create this game. And then you can just hit enter and it's going to install Pygame. Okay, so I'm going to be using VS Code. I'm going to have a tutorial up here, which is a very beginner tutorial. I'll show you how to install stuff and explain a lot more. This is kind of just for Pygame. It's not about Python basics. Okay, so we're going to go up here and we're just going to make a new file. And I'm just going to call it main.py. And then we just need to do our imports. So we're going to do import Pygame. And we also need to import sys, which is short for system. And then we're going to just initialize Pygame. So we're going to do pygame.init. You just always have to do this before you make any Pygame game. This just initializes the Pygame module. Now we're going to add some constants. We're going to do width, comma, height, like that. And then we're going to do equals 1,200 and 800, like that. And then the ball radius is going to equal 20. And the paddle width and the paddle height, like this, that's going to also equal 20 and 120. And then the FPS is going to equal 60, and we're just going to set up a color, and that color is going to be white. And then the color code is just 255, 255, and 255. These are the constants where all we need basically. Okay, so now we need to set up the screen, the Pygame screen. So we're going to do screen, and that's going to equal pygame.display.setMode, and then we need 1 bracket and 2 brackets, and then we're going to pass in the width and the height, like that. So it's using the width and the height for the dimensions of the screen, which is this numbers here. And then we need to set the name for the window. So pygame.display.set_caption, and then bracket, and we're just going to type Pong game, like that. Now we need to set up the clock. So we're just going to do clock equals Pygame dot time and then dot clock, and you need to have a capital, otherwise this won't work. So the clock is just gonna help us with the FPS. Okay, so now we're going to make the paddles. So player 1 is going to equal Pygame dot rect with a capital, and then 50 height divided by 2 minus paddle height divided by 2, comma, paddle width, and then paddle height, like that. So this is a little bit complicated. So basically all this is doing is just making the paddle object, and then later on we can draw that paddle object to the screen. Okay, so we can just copy this and paste it again. Gonna be lazy and paste it. And we need to just change this to player 2 instead of player 1. And we need to change a few things in here. So we're gonna put width before the 50 and put a minus in. So width minus 50. And then we're going to also minus the paddle width, like that, comma, and I'm just going to delete the rest of this because we don't need that. Height divided by 2 minus paddle height divided by 2, and then paddle width, and paddle height, like that. And last but not least, need to do the ball. So ball equals Pygame dot rect with a capital, and then width divided by 2, like that, minus ball radius divided by 2 again, and then need a comma, height divided by 2 again, minus ball radius divided by 2 again, and then ball radius and ball radius, like that. So that's basically the most complicated bit done. And now we just need to initialize the ball movement speed. So we're just going to do ball underscore speed, like that, equals that, and then 5 and 5. Now I need to initialize the scores. So score player 1 is going to equal 0, and score player 2 will also equal 0, like that. Okay, so now we need to do the game loop. So this whole game loop is going to be in a while loop, which means it will run forever. So we're just going to type while true. Okay, so now once this while loop is running, we have no way to get out of the while loop. So what we want to do is we want to tell Pygame, when the user clicks the little X in the top corner, like here, we want it to quit, go out of the while loop and quit. So we need to do that by saying for event, because the click will be an event, in Pygame dot key dot get pressed, like that, and then we need parentheses at the end, and then if event dot type equals Pygame dot quit in all capitals, and then need a colon at the end, and they also forgot a colon up here. And what we want to do is Pygame dot quit, and we also need to do sys dot exit, which is just going to exit the program, and we also need parentheses after that. And it looks like I forgot to indent that, so just like that. Now what we need to do is we want Pygame to look for any key presses, and if Pygame sees the arrow keys being pressed, we want to move the paddle like up and down. So to do that, we need to make a new variable, and it's going to be keys equals Pygame dot key dot get underscore pressed, like that, and we need parentheses at the end. And I'm just going to write a comment here saying player 1 controls, like that. Okay, so now what we need to do is if keys Pygame dot capital K underscore W, so if player 1 hits the W key, and player 1 dot top equals 0. So if player 1 hits the W key, and we don't actually want that to be an equal, we want that to be a greater than. So if the key W is pressed, we want to move the paddle up. So player 2 dot Y minus equals 5. And then we need to do that if the user presses the S key. So what we can do is we can just copy this here and paste it in. You might have to fix the indentation. And we don't want it to be KW, we want it to be KS. And we need to change this to bottom, and we want it to be less than height. And also needs to be plus equals 5, not minus equals. Okay, so what we can do is we can just copy this whole thing again and paste that in again. And now this is going to be player 2 controls. So we don't want it to be KW anymore. We want it to be K up. So this is the up arrow key and K down. And we need to also change this to player 2 and player 2. Okay, so now we need to move the ball. So ball dot x plus equals ball speed and make that 0. We can copy this down and make that 1. And also need to change this to ball y. Okay. So now we need to check if the ball is colliding with the top, bottom, or walls. Okay, so we're going to do if ball. So if ball dot top is less than or equal to 0, or ball dot bottom is greater than or equal to the height of the screen, you want a ball underscore speed and 0, no, actually 1 equals minus ball speed 1. Now I need to collide it with the paddles. So if ball dot collide rect, like that. So it collides with a rect, player 1. And then we can just copy this bit again and type in or ball dot collide rect player 2. Just copy this again. Copying is a lot easier than typing the whole thing out. I just want to make this 0 and 0. Okay, so we're actually pretty close to done. All we have to do is check if the ball goes into the player's goal and draw all the objects. Okay, so we're going to do if ball dot left, gee, can I type? If ball dot left is less than or equal to 0, score underscore player 2 plus equals 1. So that's going to give the player 2 another point. And then ball dot x equals width divided by 2 minus ball radius divided by 2. And then ball underscore speed 0 equals minus ball speed, and then again 0. Okay, so we can copy this, paste it down, fix that, and make it an elif. So elif ball dot right is greater than or equal to the width. And then we actually need to change this to player 1. And then that's basically all the same. Okay, so it looks like I actually just spelt scored or player 1 wrong. So actually, if you want to change that, this only works in VS Code. You can press F2 and then you can change this and press enter. And that actually changes it for everywhere. So you can see down here it also fixed it. That's just a handy little tip. Okay, so now we need to do the drawing. So we can just add a comment and drawing like that. Okay, so we want the screen to be a nice grey color. So we're going to do screen dot fill. And then we need 2 parentheses. We're going to do 38, 38, 38. Like that. Then we need to draw the paddles and the ball. So Pygame dot draw dot rect. Parentheses, we want to draw it to the screen, so we're going to put screen on. We want the color to be white, and we want to draw player 1. So we can actually just copy this down, and all we have to change is this to player 2, copy it down one more time, and we need to change this to ball. Okay, so now we need to draw the score. So we're going to do font equals Pygame dot font and then dot capital font. And we can just do none. We don't really need a special one. And then the size of the font can be 36. Okay, so the score underscore text can equal font dot render parentheses. This is going to be an F string, so F, then curly brackets, score player 1 space, and then we can just put a minus in, another curly brackets, score player 2, and then we can just go out of that, do a comma, true, and we want the color to be white. Okay, so now we need to actually draw that to the screen. So we're going to do screen dot blit. We want to blit the score text, and then we need to tell Pygame we want to draw this. So we're going to do width divided by 2 minus score text dot get underscore width, more parentheses, divided by 2, 20, like that. Then we have to update the screen, so Pygame dot display and then dot flip. So that will update the screen. Need the parentheses on the end, and we want the FPS to be 60. So we're going to do clock dot tick and then the FPS, which we set to 60. So now this should work if we save it and go up to the run button. So let's try. Click the run button. Okay, so we got an error. So it's saying player 2 equals pygame.rect. So this is the error that's wrong. And it actually tells you here, line 18. So we can go up to line 18. So it's this one here. Okay, so I accidentally added a comma there. So we can just delete that and that should work. Got another error, line 28. Right here. Okay, so this actually needs to be, we don't need the key.get pressed. We just want it event like that, and then we want it to be .get. That should work. Hopefully, there we go. It works like that. Okay, so I am seeing one problem. I can't control this paddle over here. I can only control this one. I'm pressing W and S right now and the arrow keys. So let's just go down and fix this. And all we have to do here is change this to 1. Oops. And 1. So when W key is pressed, we want to move player 1 up. And when S key is pressed, we want to move player 1 down. And this should work. There we go. We have a fully functioning Pong game. So I hope you guys learned something and had fun. Please give this a like and a share if you did, and I'll see you in the next one.